right, so we have live pictures. We've been expecting this briefing. It's 20 minutes late, but nevertheless, INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu is briefing the press.
The United Nations and head of the UN Office for the West Africa and the Sahel. I also saw Comrade Chris Isibuzo, President of the Nigeria Union of Journalists. But I have also seen my colleagues from different parts of Africa. So permit me to recognize Mr. Saka Lafia, Chairman of the Electoral Commission of Benin Republic. Thank you, Mr. Lafia. Thank you very much. We also have Mr. Aliu Momar Njai, Chairman, Electoral Commission of the Gambia. We have our own sister, Mrs. Jean Mensah, Chairperson of the Electoral Commission of Ghana. And then another sister, Davideta Lansana Brown, Chairperson, Electoral Commission of Liberia. Another sister of ours from Southern Africa, Mrs. Elsie Ngikembua, Chairperson of the Electoral Commission of Namibia. We have Barrister Issa Kasuna, Chairman, Electoral Commission of Niger Republic. We have Justice Jacobs Mwambakele, Chairman, Electoral Commission of Tanzania. And then my good friend, Mohamed Kone, Chairman, Electoral Commission of Sierra Leone. And there are other officials of other electoral commissions. So ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to the second briefing of the day. Our intention at this briefing is essentially to give you an update. Some questions were asked in the morning. We said we will provide an update. The first one is the attack in Goza. Goza is in Borno State. And I want to report that the military has confirmed that it was an 81 millimeter mortar attack on two facilities, including a filling station near INEC office, but no damage to INEC facilities and no casualties. Some people were injured and they're in hospital. We wish them a speedy recovery, but no destruction of INEC facilities and no disruption of the electoral process. So that is the update on Goza. Unfortunately, we continue to lose some of the bimodal voter accreditation system devices. I reported in the morning the loss of devices in Delta and in Safana local government area of Katsina State. But unfortunately, we also lost 3 BVAS machines in Ayamelum in Anambra State. But we have recovered from all these losses because we have contingency arrangement to respond to any such attack. There were issues arising from the commencement of the process in Abia, in Imo, and in Kebbi, among other places. I'm happy to say that the process is right now ongoing in Abia. The polling units will remain open well beyond the appointed hour until the last person on the queue before 2:30 votes. In Imo, the process is ongoing except a few RAs or PUs marred by insecurity and thuggery spread across 7 local government areas. and the situation in Kebbi State is stable. Voting is going on mainly in Birnin Kebbi, but earlier it affected Birnin Kebbi and a part of Argungu, but mainly in Birnin Kebbi, but voting is ongoing. But we have a situation in Bayelsa State, particularly in the capital, Yenagoa, where in 4 wards, wards 4, 6, 8, and 14, involving 141 polling units, the process was disrupted. We remobilized security. The situation is calm for us to proceed with the process, but the youth corps members express some apprehension of going back. So we met with the security agencies, and we have decided that voting in these 141 polling units, where the materials are actually intact, will take place tomorrow morning. Remember, we are not only doing presidential election, but we're also doing senatorial and federal constituencies. So it's good as much as possible to recover and conduct the election so that we can conclude the processes. So the youth corps members who are going to serve as presiding officers and other categories of ad hoc staff are agreeable to the election holding in these locations tomorrow. In Lagos, we have been closely following the situation in Okota, Mofoluku, Oshodi, and Elegushi. We have been able to normalize the situation in a number of places, including Ikate, where voting is ongoing. So we'll keep our eyes on the processes in the other areas that I have mentioned. Polling units in a large number of areas closed, and sorting and counting of ballot papers have commenced. Between the last briefing and this one, we have taken a proactive step by meeting with the Inspector General of Police, the National Security Advisor, and the Commandant General of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. The idea is to strengthen security as we move to the next stage of the process, which is the collation of results in locations where voting has been concluded at the polling units. I would also like to say that in Edo State, we had a situation that we handled yesterday. One of the parties whose acronym is on the result sheets, but the logo is not on the ballot paper, in a federal constituency. After meeting with the stakeholders, the decision was taken, since the materials are intact, to countermand the election. So we have suspended the election for Esan North, Esan South, and Igweben. The ballot papers will be reprinted, and the election will now hold along with the state constituency elections on the 11th of March. That is in the next 2 weeks. We are determined that no Nigerian should and would be disenfranchised. So we have been responding to some of the situations as they arise, and we are going to do so overnight. There may be no opportunity for us to brief Nigerians again between now and tomorrow, but if need be, we'll make an announcement and do a briefing before we then open the collation center tomorrow. So this is the update on the situation nationally. But as I said, observers, the media, and all others are also keeping their eyes on the processes, and would like to hear from you what you have seen and what we need to do. In my earlier briefing, I said that the technology actually optimally performed, generally speaking. We're really happy nationwide. This is the first deployment in a major national election. And the technology has given a good account of itself. Yes, we have lost ballot boxes here and there, but it appears that the target of surgery is now the bimodal voter accreditation system, the BVAS. We will continue to protect the process and will continue to proceed courageously to ensure that we conclude this in a very free, fair, and credible manner. We are willing to listen to your comments and take suggestions and observations. But as I said, we are in the middle of the election. So we'll take a maximum of 3 interventions because we have to go back to the situation room and to continue to monitor the situation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman, INEC. Please, if you want to ask any question, maybe make your observations or make any comment, kindly indicate. The mic will be brought to you.
Good evening, Chairman. My name is Harry Awurumibe. I report for Prompt News, online newspapers. Mine is, you mentioned when you were briefing us that beavers, from the information you have gathered across the nation, have performed optimally. But then the bad guys are targeting beavers. And knowing now, and you've met with the chiefs of security, now counting has started. And those beavers are going to be brought to racks. And the bad guys, especially in Lagos, and I'm from Imo State, Okigwe in particular, Olo, Osu, they're going to target the beavers and hijack them. What are you doing about that?
Good evening, the chairman. Good evening, colleagues. I am Princess Ekwi Ajide of the Anambra Broadcasting Service. Sir, I want to know what will happen to the results that will emanate from Urokwe Primary School and Umwezilibu Hall or Zobolo, where the ad hoc workers did not come, but voters volunteered and started the work. So incidentally, in some places, they voted, they did the accreditation and waited for some hours before they started voting. So what will be the outcome of the results from that place? Thank you.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chairman. My name is Ogochukwu Okoronkwa, and I report for Radio Nigeria. A colleague of mine that went to vote at Tungamaje FCT, Health Center Polling Unit, said that out of the 5 polling units, that thugs came and made away ballot boxes belonging to 007 and 014. He now said that the people now mobilized and started beating them before the police came, dispersed the people, and later now went out again with the ballot boxes and the ad hoc staff. So for people that were supposed to vote at 007 and 014, voting ended for them. So she's now asking, will there be another opportunity for them to vote, or is that the end of the voting experience for them? Thank you.
Thank you. Please
Sorry, just
allow
follow up, sir.
Honorable Chairman to answer those questions, please.
Okay,
Please.
sorry, I crave your indulgence. I know that there are many people who have many good questions to ask and suggestions to make. But we are in the middle of an election. And we have to go back to our situation room. That's why we have limited the interventions to 3. I'm sure there will be another opportunity for us to respond, to hear from Nigerians. After all, in our situation room, we have the ICCC, the INEC Citizens Contact Center. And through our social media handles, you can still contact us live and direct, and we will be able to respond to the issues you have raised. And so many Nigerians have been responding and drawing our attention to situations which we have in turn also been responding. So I crave your indulgence. I'll respond to these 3 quick interventions. Then we go back to our situation room. The first one is the security of the beavers, particularly now that we are going to the next stage. At the polling units, remember, after the ballot papers have been sorted out and counted, and the result sheets duly signed by the presiding officers and the agents of political parties, will snap the picture of that result sheet and upload on the IREV portal. So the question is, what happens? This is partly why I said in my opening statement that we met with the security chiefs, the Inspector General of Police, the National Security Advisor, and the Commandant General of the Security and Civil Defense. Yes, people are targeting the beavers. But remember also, in our planning for the election, we have made contingency arrangement. In none of these areas where the beavers were targeted was election not held as a result of the absence of the beavers. The highest number came, as I said, from Safana local government area of Katsina State. And as I said earlier in my first briefing, the police, working with the commission, have arrested the hoodlums and recovered 3 out of the 6 beavers, and the manhunt for the other people is ongoing. So we have taken sufficient measures to make sure that we protect the beavers' machines. Remember, we'll use the same machines in the next 2 weeks for the governorship and state assembly elections. So we're not joking with this situation at all. It's critical to the conduct of credible elections. Princess from the Anambra Broadcasting Service, results emanating from a primary school where voters volunteered to conduct the election. I know that the Commission appreciates the work of volunteers. That's why we rely on ad hoc staff or temporary staff. But these are staff engaged by the Commission, not staff who engage themselves on behalf of the Commission as good Samaritans. So I'm not aware of the specific details of this situation you describe in Anambra, but as soon as we go back to the situation room, I will place a call to our resident electoral commissioner in Anambra State. So we'll find a way of dealing with this situation. Finally, the issue of Tunga Maji, raised by our sister from Radio Nigeria, that thugs made away with some of the election materials before voting could be concluded. So are we now going to resume voting in these locations again? So what we'll do immediately after this meeting is to call our resident electoral commissioner for the Federal Capital Territory and find out exactly what the situation is. Surely, if there are still voters on the queue at Tunga Maji, what I have described earlier will apply to that location as well. Anybody who was on the queue before 2:30 will be allowed to vote, even if voting goes well beyond the official closing hours of the polling. So we'll find out as soon as we leave this place. So once again, I thank you and I thank Nigerians for their understanding and patience. We are making really very, very steady progress and will continue to ensure that nothing nothing truncates our democracy or truncates the will of the Nigerian people. Our allegiance is to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and our commitment is to the Nigerian people. I thank you very much. But before we close, in case there is need to issue another statement again, we will at short notice inform the media because they are here. But as a matter of course, I would like to invite you at midday tomorrow for the official opening of the National Collation Center for the 2023 general elections. We hope later tomorrow we expect to have some of the results of the election coming from the states, particularly for the presidential election. So the situation room, the collation center for the presidential election will be open at midday tomorrow, Sunday, the 26th. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
INEC Chairman Mahmoud Yakubu there, giving us some narratives on how the elections have gone so far. Talks about attacks on INEC facility in Goza, loss of beavers in places like Delta, some parts of Katsina, Anambra, and he says there are some contingency on the loss of those items. He also talks about issues in election commencement in Kebbi, Imo, and of course in Abia, and of course some skirmishes in Lagos, Okota, Mafuluku, Legushi, and of course some parts of Oshodi. So North talks about contingent arrangement and that the election is on a very steady process, using his exact words.